What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another film preview, this time taking a look at the Super Bowl. Everybody's fired up for it. Everybody's got their opinion. I'm going to give you mine in this video. I'm going to try and keep it somewhat short, but who knows at this rate with how much film we got to go through. So with that being said, just off the bat, I think the Chiefs are going to win this football game. I think they got a lot of speed on the outsides. I think they're going to stress this Niners defense vertically, and they're going to put them in a lot of pickles. Now, the Niners could win this football game. I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be a blowout because it's not going to be. Niners got a great defense. They're fast. They're athletic. They're very, very well coached. I think both of these coaches are going to come out with some stuff that we haven't seen yet, and it's going to be all around a great game. So starting things off, first and foremost, when we think about this Niners defense, it's the pass rush. And right here we can see they don't really need to bring heat. Right? They can really only bring 4 and be fine, which is exactly what they're going to do here to Rodgers. They're going to put up a couple of twists up at the top, and they're just so athletic. Like I said before, it's 5 years worth of first-round picks on this defensive front. Nick Bosa is having one of the best rookie years we've ever seen from a defensive end, and he's just crushing it. And like I said, this defense is very difficult to deal with. Now, when it comes to the Chiefs, their entire passing game is it kind of built to negate a pass rush, right? One of the ways that the Packers negated the Niners pass rush was by doing this, which is just a really simple max protect, okay? 4-man rush. If you know you're going to get beat up front, then you have to do something to help out your offensive line, which is exactly what the Packers do here, right? We're going to bring in 2 edge guys, right? Our running back and our H. They're just going to help chip on the edge, and then they're going to go out for into the flat, right? And it's really, really simple, something that I'm sure the Chiefs are going to do to help out Mahomes and to help out this passing game. Now, here's how the Chiefs do it a little bit differently, okay? Kelce's at the bottom right here. All right, now, obviously, different look. We don't have a back on this side. We just have Kelce down at the bottom, right? But watch when he chips, the difference between when he chipped and with Jimmy Graham chipped. Okay, their route is what's different, not necessarily the physicality, because that's not very physical out of Kelce, right? But you don't have to be crazy physical. You just got to give a little shove. He gets upfield, but instead of taking this thing to the flat, he's going to take this thing up and find a hole in the coverage. And I think that that's going to be so huge against this Niner defense. It's going to be stressed vertically and across the field just with the speed of these Chiefs receivers. These receivers for the Chiefs are some of the best in the league at finding space and coverage, right? And it'd be different if the Niners were going to lock up and play man the entire game, but that's not them. That's not their identity, all right? They're going to sit back and they're going to try and play cover 3. They're going to try and play quarter half, which is cover 6, or they're going to drop into 4. Right, this is an example of them, I believe. This is a fire zone actually out of them, and this is something that I do want to cover because this is the next step for the Niners and the Packers. The Niners and the Chiefs. Right, the Niners in third down situations love to bring a fire zone. Okay, and as we can see here, I broke this down before. D Ford's going to work back to the middle of the field to take away this number 3 receiver, bringing heat from the nickel and from your Mike. Confusing to deal with as a quarterback. Now, the difference between the Chiefs and the Packers is that the Chiefs have hot built into every route, right? And the Packers don't really. And that was kind of one of the things that surprised me in this game is that the Packers really didn't have a hot route built in and ready for this, right? You have to have a hot. You have to have something quick for your quarterback to hit. And off the snap, we know right now, okay, it's a blitz, but our number 3 receiver's not looking until he breaks into his route. You got to have something quicker. You got to have something coming into the flat over here, coming into the flat at the bottom, right? Jimmy Graham's got to stay into chip, but there's nothing in this. And that's what, to me, was so worrisome about this Niners defense. And when the Packers played them, they were kind of set up for failure, right? You have to have a hot built into this. They're showing their hand here, right? And that's something that I think the Chiefs will have, and we'll see in the next clip that they do have it, but they're creative with how they do it. It's not just your simple back out into the flat. Here's an example of the Titans bringing a fire zone, right? The difference between the Niners and the Titans is that this backer's dropping away from the 3-by side, whereas the Niners drop to it, okay? Now, this play is a lot different, but it's kind of the same, all right? The difference between the Chiefs play and this Packers play is the space off the ball that the corner's giving down at the bottom. Right, we got a ton of space down here to work with, all right? And you can see Mahomes knows how much space he has. But again, bringing a fire zone up front, there's going to be space somewhere in this defense when you bring a fire zone like that. So what do? This is a really far throw for a quarterback. We're talking about an opposite hash curl, okay? Now, it's not crazy when you're in the league and you got an arm like Mahomes has, but what I'm trying to show you guys with this is that there really isn't anywhere on the field that's an unrealistic throw for Patrick Mahomes. So if the Niners are going to bring a fire zone, you better have every spot on that field covered up, because if you don't, 15 is going to dice you up, which is exactly what he does to the Titans. Why do you think the Titans gave this dude so much space? Because that's a far throw to make. But what does Mahomes do? He takes his steps, gets rid of the rock, and it's almost a first down. I can't remember what they called it. I think they called it a 3rd and short. But those are some of the things that I think is going to play out. It's going to be a lot of fire zones, I think, out of the Niners, unless they're going to be able to get to them with their just straight-up 4-man rush. Now, moving on to the next thing is how the Packers did put stress on the Niners defense, because they did. They moved the rock a little bit. Here's one example of them trying to, which is just one of their screens, which I think the Chiefs are going to go to a lot. However, Chiefs are a lot better at running screens than the Packers, okay? So screen game is one thing that I think that the Chiefs are going to do, and they run a lot of motions like this where they have their number 1 or 2, and it's Tyreek Hill or Mecole Hardman running across the field in the backfield, just trying to put stress on the backers. And watch what it does here just in this little clip, right? You can see the backers bump over. They have to honor that motion. Okay, and I think the Chiefs are going to do this a lot. And we saw them do this against the Titans. You can see the 2 backers in that clip, right? They're bumping over, and all you're doing is creating space on the other side of the field. Chiefs have to win the one-on-one matchups on the outside as well. You can't lose to those corners, and those are good corners that they have. Those are good tackling corners. Now, here's an example of how I think the Chiefs are going to try and stress this Niners defense horizontally across the field, right? We motion Mecole Hardman, bring him back, boom, the jet sweep. Okay, really easy play to run. This is built into the Chiefs playbook, and I think we're going to see a decent amount of it on Sunday because it does such a good job of stressing these backers. And these backers have to be on the spot, ready to go if they don't, right? Boomer right here. Really simple from the offensive line. They're just going to block either inside zone. They're going to block inside zone away from it. In this situation, we're going to leave 58 unblocked. We're just giving a little jab step and then working out here with 81. We had a 3-tech here, so we're going to give a quick hand to him, and then we're moving upfield with 72. Now, he knows it's tough to get to 26, but he does a good job getting there. But again, you can see how this creates the confusion on defense, right? You're going to get backers stepping the wrong way. You're going to get safety stepping the wrong way. More importantly than anything, you're going to get edges of this defense, and you're going to get the mismatch you want. The Niners have speed, or excuse me, the Chiefs have speed over the 49ers. Right? Now, those Niners linebackers are fast. Don't get me wrong. Fred Warner, Quan Alexander, those dudes are fast, okay? But they're not as fast as Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman. They just aren't, right? And so if you can get a body on a body with those guys, if you can throw a cut, if you can get in their way, I think that there is going to be some space to work with. Now, looking at how the Packers stress this cover 3 compared to how the how the Chiefs are going to stress it. Pretty simple, right? When we look at this thing from pre-snap, they're given 2 safeties. And again, like I said in my Niners breakdown of this game, they're trying to confuse Rodgers, right? How are the ways that we can get into his head and force him to make some bad decisions? Well, we got 2 high safeties here. They're going to drop into a cover 3 look, right? And then they're going to drop this safety down to pick up whatever crosser. Now, certain teams like to run certain routes, right? In this situation, you love the crossers against this because you're going to stretch vertically and then come across the field, and there's going to be holes in the coverage. Now, the difference between how the Packers run this and how the Chiefs run it is the Chiefs stress a lot more vertically, right? And the Chiefs will stress across the field, don't get me wrong, but with how they stress things, it's much more vertical, which is a lot tougher for backers to cover. You end up opening up gaps in the coverage the more you get downfield, right? It's not necessarily easier to cover when guys are running sideline to sideline, but you're playing in front of guys a lot, right? Safeties are going to drop. You're going to have to play in front of them. Now, here's a great example of how the Chiefs are going to stress this cover 3, right? He's stepping up here because he's not going to just bail off the bat. He's going to wait for some sort of threat, and then he's going to work, right? We're working downhill with this safety. He's dropping, and we're going to drop curl flat out here with this with this corner. Now, what the Chiefs do, and this is a silky route concept, right? They're going to run switch with their 1 and 2, and then with their 3, they're going to run up and run a curl. Okay, now watch what happens with this backer right here who's supposed to be walling off 3. He's going to work to him, and then he's going to turn his head because he thinks that he's running up to the safety. He's going to be someone else's responsibility. Nope, Kelsey drops right into this hole, right into the hole of this coverage, and he's going to be wide open. And this is what I think the Chiefs are going to do. They're going to try and stress the Niners vertically more than horizontally across the field. That's just my opinion of how things are going to work out with the Chiefs offense and that Niners defense. It's going to be a great chess match between two coaches, and I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said before, I think that the Chiefs have enough speed to match with the Niners and to really give them problems. Now, moving on to how the Chiefs are going to stop this Niners offense. This Niners offense runs a plethora of runs, okay? They run everything in the book. Jimmy G's thrown like 20 passes in this playoffs. If you can find a way to slow down that running game, and you're going to find a way to force that game onto Jimmy Garoppolo, that's where you have your best chance of winning. I'm not guaranteeing a win. That's where you have your best chance of winning. Now, just an example of all the different plays that the Niners can run. Really simple trap concept that they ran for their first touchdown of the game. And again, they're so lethal in every way. But why were they so effective against the Packers? I broke it down. Because the Packers stuck in this bare front the entire season. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. They were going to be in some version of this bare front the entire season. And it's easy, not necessarily easy, but you can scheme that up because there's only one guy back here, right? You only have one backer to cover all of these gaps, and any sort of leak in these gaps that the back finds, you only got one cat back here to figure it out. Right? So you run trap against this, you block down, you give a little stutter step, then you're working up to that backer and you trap this inside guy. That's where your seam is. Now, how is this different in terms of the Chiefs, right? Because the Chiefs don't run that bare front traditionally. They're much more over, 5-man over, 5-man under, which I expected them to do against the Titans. They didn't do as much of it, okay? But here's where the Niners really focus their game plan. It's on this outside run, right? It's on that toss. It's on that wide zone, okay? And why it was so successful against the Packers, like I said, was because they were running that bare front. And they weren't strong on the edge of their defense. They were very soft with it, right? Look at this play. 55 right here. You're the edge guy on this defense. You have to stop this right here and try and force this dude to either bounce it or cut up field. Okay? You can't just sprint up field, right? And again, this is probably how they're coached. It's not him being stupid. This is exactly how he's coached to do it. I'm not a huge fan of the scheme, because the reason being is as you work upfield with him, now you're forcing 93 and 50 to chase this thing across the field and make a play, right? Instead of having 55 be strong and firm right here, try and work upfield, he knifes underneath that tight end and tries to get underneath this. You're never going to make that play. And again, it's not him, it's the scheme that I'm more talking about. Now you're trying to get 50 and 93 to run across the field and make a play when you got linemen coming up to get in their way. It's not going to happen, okay? Another example of it, just their wide zone, right? This one, they also ran in for a touchdown. They didn't do bad on the edge of this defense, right? But their backers killed them. And the Chiefs backers right now are playing at a very high level. Their interior defensive linemen playing at a very high level. Their edge defenders playing at a very high level. And we'll take a look at that against the Titans. Now, watch 51 on this. He does a really good job, right? He mans up with this tackle, tries to force the edge of this defense right here. You're either going to bounce it or you're going to cut it back, but he's done his job. 51 has done his job. Now you need your other flow defenders, right? 25, 93, 50. You need these guys shooting gaps, right? Shoot gaps. Help me out. I've set the edge of this defense. Now you got to make a play. 25 sticks his nose in the wrong gap. We bounce it with 31 and we're off for a touchdown. Now this is what I expected to happen when the Titans played the Chiefs. Right? I expected them to kind of get worked on the edges of their defense and for Derrick Henry to have his best game. I still thought the Chiefs were going to win, but I thought Derrick Henry was going to be much, much more effective. Now, look at how the Chiefs defensive ends play this, right? Look at how Frank Clark plays this, okay? Strong and firm on that end. Backers are fighting across face, trying to fill gaps. And then on top of that, we have interior linemen like Mike Pennell and Chris Jones. This isn't Chris Jones, but you know what I'm saying. Guys like that running to get to that ball. Right? Great pursuit, strong on the edges of the defense, and they're playing with an attitude right now, right? And I saw Jeff Schwartz tweeted that Chris Jones was going to be one of the X factors for this game. 100% agree with that. I think Mike Pennell is just as important. A dude who was very effective in this Titans game, right? He does a great job with his hands, extending, reestablishing that line of scrimmage. And again, look at 92 to Passanio, right? I hope I said that right. Stopping this edge of this, right? Doing a great job, taking on two defenders. Good job with his hands, right? Trying to run this thing out. And really, you're forcing Derrick Henry back into the teeth of this thing instead of having him bounce out, right? And that's where you force it back into guys like Mike Pennell and Chris Jones and your backers who are playing at a very high level right now. And the Chiefs they're playing good football. right? Their defensive linemen and their linebackers are playing outstanding, and these are just a couple examples from the Titans game. Winning at the point of attack is another thing that they're doing great right now, and this plays a great example of that. Chris Jones and then Tapasino do a great job here, right? They're trying to run inside zone with a wham, trying to run inside zone to the right. You got to win with your tackle on this 5 tech and your well, this is really a 4-eye, excuse me, and this is like a wide 9, I guess is what they would call it. But they're not winning at the point of attack, and that's a great job with the Chiefs defenders. Boom, right there. Shedding that block and then getting upfield. It's not a wham. I feel like an idiot right now. But they're winning at the point of attack with the Chiefs. Okay, and that's my main point with how the Chiefs are playing this week, how the Chiefs have been playing this entire playoff. So, like I said at the beginning of this video, I believe the Chiefs are going to win this football game. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be a great coaching chess match between these two. I'm fired up to see it, but my prediction is the Chiefs, and we'll see if that holds true. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. I'm really looking forward to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a fun one. Oh, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It would mean the world to me. But until next time, guys, I'll see you soon.